Hello and welcome to the latest episode, episode 4 of Performer on Record. In today's episode, we've got a couple of really great artist interviews. Up first is the band BACKHOUSE, who we recently did a video promotion with in conjunction with electro-voice on some of their new PA gear, and also an interview with our previous Elixir Strings Artist of the Month, Cecil Alexander. This podcast is brought to you by our premier sponsor, Elixir Strings. We only use Elixir Strings here at Performer because their protective coating keeps our strings full of life better than any other brand we've ever tried. And when we're reviewing stomp boxes, amps, and recording gear each month, we don't want anything distracting us from the job, like the hassle and expense of constantly changing our strings. And we know you don't want anything getting in the way of making your music either. So say goodbye to corrosion and dirt and oils and sweat and buildup and all that gunk and use Elixir Strings. Trust us. Their proprietary featherweight coating acts as a great barrier against tone-killing buildup on your guitar and bass strings, allowing you to just get lost in the music. For more information, head to elixirstrings.com and also head to our YouTube channel. We've got tons of demos from real-world players just like you checking out Elixir acoustic and electric strings. I guess it would be topical to kind of touch upon what's actually happening in the music world these days. As we record this, we are getting kind of late breaking news that unfortunately Eddie Van Halen has lost his long-term battle with throat cancer. He passed away earlier today at age 65. And I know, speaking from personal experience, and I'm not unique in this, he was certainly the catalyst for me picking up a guitar at a young age, and I can probably safely assume that for most men and women of my age and older, they likely picked up an instrument because of Van Halen. His influence was just so vast, and I think it's hard for maybe today's musicians under the age of 25 or even 30 to really comprehend just how much of an impact he made to the instrument, from its construction to its sound to how it was played and approached. He certainly wasn't the first guitar player to employ right-hand tapping. I mean, if you go back and listen to some old Genesis albums, Steve Hackett was doing some limited tapping techniques on, I think, even Selling England by the Pound. But Van Halen really exploited that and created a new vocabulary for guitarists that didn't exist before. I would say even more so than Hendrix and Page and guys like that who came before him. You wouldn't have the rock guitar that followed him in the decade or two after Van Halen's debut if he hadn't just reinvented on how you play the electric guitar. So his influence and impact on the world of music can't really be overstated. And like I said, it's maybe difficult for the younger listeners out there to really comprehend just how much he meant to the world of guitar and how many people he inspired. You're not hearing a lot of guitar music on the radio these days anymore, or on Spotify or YouTube or whatever your listening platform of choice is. But suffice it to say, even today's music, unknowingly or knowingly, owes a debt of gratitude to what came before it. And Van Halen was certainly at the epicenter of everything rock and pop from about 1977, 78 onwards for the next 20 years. He was probably still the last relevant rock icon during my high school days when alternative took over the radio airwaves. So it's a huge monumental loss for the industry. If you're not familiar with Van Halen's music, I urge you to go seek it out. I'm sure it's on every streaming platform. If you can go to your local record store and pick up some of the first maybe half dozen Van Halen records, the David Lee Roth stuff and the Sammy Hagar stuff, it's all good. Anything up until, the mid-90s, when they were really in their prime. Even the Gary Cherone record is one of my not so guilty pleasures. There's nothing to be guilty about. If you like it, it's good. So that was some hard news to swallow from a personal standpoint and just from an industry standpoint. I don't know that I've seen such an outpouring of condolences and people really that shaken by the loss of someone that monumental. So 2020, the hits just keep on coming. I don't know what's in store for us the next few months. We do have an election coming up. We've got a lot of stuff ahead of us, so who knows how we'll finish out the year. But for now, we do have a couple of interviews to get to. First up, like I mentioned, is the New Jersey band BACKHOUSE, who recently worked with us on an electro-voice promotion. So go check out those videos on our YouTube channel and hear what the band has to say coming up next. All right, so we're here with Taylor from the band BACKHOUSE. For those of you listening who maybe haven't seen yet, we worked with the band on a really cool video project with electro-voice, going through one of their new portable PA offerings for musicians. So Taylor, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So I would love to give our audience a little bit of background on the band for those who might not know you guys. I can give the 2-second summary that you're a rock band out of the northern part of the United States, but that's not really doing you guys justice. So if you can maybe give us a little bit of background on where the band came from, what kind of stuff you guys play, I think that'd be a great place to start.
Sure. The general sound is kind of like lo-fi rock or like psychedelic type rock. Sometimes we have heavy songs and sometimes we have, ballad, soft type songs and jams. We started in Bradley Beach, a town in New Jersey that's just south of Asbury Park.
Okay.
There's a pretty healthy music scene in Asbury Park. So, Kyle, bass player, and I were living together at the time and jamming in the nights and stuff like that. And an opportunity came up where one of our friends was like, you guys should play a show. These songs that you guys play are pretty good and stuff. And, you should perform them live. And, we didn't have any intention at that time, to like really try to propel, the songs we were playing. So we looked for a drummer for the night and tried to throw it together, and we were able to do so. We threw together a little set for a Halloween show locally, and we didn't have a band name or anything like that. So, where Kyle and I were living is a carriage house, or also known as a back house.
Okay, cool.
So we just were like, all right, so we'll be back house. It's kind of like where everyone, comes to either hang out or visit us or whatever, So, we kind of just labeled ourselves from where we lived and where the music came from. And we did our first show. And when the curtain pulled, we kind of looked back at each other like, okay, I guess we're a band now, Maybe this is a thing. Yeah, it was pretty an interesting experience, I had always, tried to play in bands and, record music and stuff, but it's a very hard thing to do and to keep going with groups or other individuals or even just yourself. So this just kind of happened, organically. And we've just kind of been, rolling with it. And that's how we kind of connected with you guys. You guys were soon after all.
I mean, we put out a kind of a big call to arms for bands across the country to test out the electro-voice gear. And you guys were one of the entries. I don't even remember what was so appealing about your entry form. I apologize. But I remember thinking, all right, I got to put these guys on the top of the list because they've got something to offer. And I really liked your guys' personalities. I thought that came through, through the application. And like you said, we teamed up and we did those videos, which if people head to the YouTube channel, they can check those out because honestly, it'll give them a good sense of what the band sounds like, what your personalities are like, and also obviously what the PA system can do. Speaking of which, the PA system would probably be a great thing to be taken out for live gigs right now if they existed. What are you guys doing sort of in the times of pandemic to further the music stuff? I know you've got a new single coming out.
Yeah, it's out on all platforms today.
Excellent.
And tonight we'll actually be doing a live stream from the recording studio that we recorded the single at. And that'll be streaming on Jams in the Van and Orange Amplifier's Facebook and YouTube channels.
Very cool. Okay, and what's the name of the track?
Key of Orange.
Excellent. So Key of Orange, we are going to share that on our social platforms too. So if you're listening to this in the future, do a quick search. You'll find the video, which I've seen stills from, which look pretty cool. You want to maybe describe the video a little bit to those who haven't had a chance to see it yet?
Yeah, so the video comes out October 2nd, so next Friday. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like a modern art installment, with a lot of really unique concepts that unfold, and each member has their own unique small story within the music video. And then there's some really exciting stuff that happens at the end that we can't disclose yet. But
I will say there's orange paint involved.
Yeah, there is a little bit.
And what looks like a lot of shenanigans.
Yeah, definitely.
So shenanigans and orange paint. Let me ask you something from a band perspective, because there's a lot of artists listening who are kind of in the indie and DIY scene. When you go to do a music video, can you maybe break down how that process works for bands maybe who are looking to do their first video? Like, where does the concept come from? How do you hook up with, say, a video producer or director or videographer? Maybe walk us through that process a little bit for folks who aren't as familiar with how that goes.
Well, I mean, this time around, I would say it's a little. I mean, we've never really been in this position before. Like, everything kind of grew to this, and we happen to have friends that do production. So we're kind of like affiliated with people in production company, which is Hal Peak, at Hal Peak on Instagram. Cool. And we've been doing mainly all of our media with them, and we work together on storyboards, but mainly a lot of the creative art and film direction is led by them and their storyboarding and stuff. Of course, they work with bands and you can throw in a lot of your own vision into it and stuff, and they find a way to make it work so that it's conceptual and you kind of get some of what your vision is, if it's a certain shot or a certain color that you want to involve or something, So we've done 2 music videos with them, and they've turned out great. And I've actually seen other music videos that they've done and that they're working on now that are not finished. And those ones might be the best ones yet. So cool. I think future of the music video thing for us is going to be on an incline, as well as the natural growth of the band.
So are you guys releasing the single as a tease to a new record, or is it just going to be a standalone type thing? Because I think bands are going in 2 directions right now. One is they're just releasing single after single, putting the tracks out there as they record them, and the other is kind of dropping them in anticipation of something bigger, like a full length or a vinyl release or something. So what are you guys doing in that regard?
I would say that we're still like figuring it out, like what we're going to be comfortable with rolling out our songs and our media. But it'll likely be more singles because, we're still a fresh band, and, we're still just growing. So, before we do a full length, I think we want to grow a little bit more. So probably to be expected is some more singles, but then probably after that, maybe sometime in the spring or summer, early next summer, 2021. We'll probably have an EP, so maybe we'll drop another single and then another single on the day that an EP comes out or something or other, Definitely a lot of music videos are definitely going to be on the horizon.
Are you guys finding it's difficult to get together and do that stuff now, or is it pretty easy for you guys where you're at?
Yeah, I mean, I guess where we're at, I would say that, I don't know. I think that everyone's kind of finding a way to still function. you
Yeah.
know? So, yeah, we started to get together a little bit before we did the campaign with you guys, because we got Jam in the Van. We got approved to be on their live stream.
Yeah.
Which was just their Instagram. So we started to like kind of see each other and figure out how we could, do music from 6 feet apart or something, And then I don't know. Now it's essentially like we live in the same house, so I guess essentially, so we're just together. We're just together now, and we have played live shows this summer outside, along like the water here in Jersey, and we actually did. They allowed 25% capacity for restaurants, and we were actually booked for an indoor live stream. So we actually played, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, a contest that was an indoor live stream contest with 25 capacity in the establishment. So we had the best of both worlds. We had the live stream thing going, and we had a live audience, and we even had a contest that we were part of that we actually won.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. Yeah.
So you guys are in the New York, New Jersey area. Is live stuff starting to come back? I'm not familiar with kind of the opening procedures there. It's probably different all over.
Yeah. So everything was outside all summer. So if you were able to get booked, you were playing outside. Nothing
Sure.
was inside. And then just I think it was either the day or a few days before we did that live stream is when they, our local governments said that, we could have 25% seating capacity filled inside, unmasked.
So that's pretty recent then, within the past week or two. Okay.
Yeah. And it's pretty nice feeling, I gotta say, and relieving, to get to that point where, some people can be inside sitting at a table with their mask off and watching and taking in music with other people that also have their mask off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've found interesting ways to keep busy, online, and we've did a couple of different streams. But yeah, we're starting to see shows come back, and would like to see some more of it. I actually thought that we would be getting a little wrapped up in a DIY scene, like basement and like kind of speakeasy situations. But I actually, we didn't see as much of that as we thought that we would.
Yeah, I think people are taking sort of an abundance of caution with those sorts of things, which is probably for the better. I know every band wants to get back to playing live, but event organizers and even the underground organizers, I think, are probably playing it close to the vest and exercising caution and stuff like that for shows that they probably normally would have done under different circumstances.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
So, assuming the world gets back on track at some point in the near future, what do you guys hope to accomplish, or what do you guys see yourselves doing, say, over the course of the next year or two, if the world does open up, if venues get back on track, things like that? Is there touring in the future? Is there more recording in the future? What do you see for BACKHOUSE?
Well, now we're rehearsing and recording every week.
Okay, cool.
And we will be until the holidays, in November starting. And trying to just shape and finish stuff that we have started and track out some new songs and just see how we feel about how they sound and about releasing them. As far as touring and booking like that, absolutely. I think that we're in a really, like I said, a healthy ecosystem in Asbury, where we are, and we've done we've went up to Brooklyn and played up there. But yeah, I think we want to swim out of the pond that we're in and into some other waters, different cities, Austin, LA, different music cities,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So.
Cool. So, well, I for one hope that things get back on track soon, so you guys are able to do that. In the meantime, we look forward to all the new recordings, the new single and the new video, which comes out in about a week or two, which we'll definitely be sharing on our sites. Is there anything else before we sign off here that you think anybody should know about the band, or maybe plug some of your social sites before we head out?
Yeah, I guess, we'll see you all in the bright future. And if you're interested in anything you're hearing, we're Backhouse the Band on Instagram and Backhouse all caps on Spotify, iTunes. Yeah, and we'll have a lot of cool videos on YouTube in the near future of just more live performance stuff that we're doing in the studio, in addition to the new singles and stuff that we're recording.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate working with you guys. Hopefully we can do another project in the future if some more gear comes in. And until then, this is Backhouse the Band. Check them out online on our YouTube, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, Ben. Talk to you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
That was Taylor from Backhouse. Their music video is premiering this month. If you're listening in the future, this month happens to be October 2020. Hopefully the world is still here when you're listening. Anyway, that was Taylor from Backhouse, and up next we're going to be talking to Cecil Alexander, who's a really cool kind of jazzy soul guitar player from the New York area, currently residing in Mississippi with some family, with all that's going on in the world. We had a chance to catch up with him. The audio quality is a little less than ideal. I apologize. We had some technical difficulties, but hopefully the interview is still good enough that you give it a listen and stick through it. It's not that bad. But Cecil's awesome. If you haven't checked out his videos, head to our YouTube channel again, or follow him on Instagram. He's always got really cool clips, and we talk about his really cool Telecaster that you'll see in a lot of those videos too. So here comes Cecil Alexander. So we are here with Cecil Alexander. Thank you for joining us. Cecil, for those of you who haven't been keeping up on our social media, was our Elixir Strings Artist of the Month last month. So if you head over to our YouTube channel, you'll see some cool videos of him playing what looks like a really rad Telecaster with the Elixir Strings. So you can kind of hear what his style is all about, which we'll definitely get into. But I would love to start, if you want to take us back and even go further and kind of give us a sense of when you first started playing guitar, maybe what some of your earlier influences were, and how that all sort of started for you.
Sure thing. So I started playing when I was 8 years old, and that was kind of started by that scene in Back to the Future where Marty McFly is like playing Johnny B. Good on the red Gibson 347 or something like that.
I think it's a 345 because it's got that weird knob selector thing.
Right, yeah. And I just thought that was the coolest thing I had ever seen. So I begged my parents that Christmas to give me a guitar, and they got me this. It was like a red, kind of Stratocaster copy or something like that. And I started lessons after that Christmas, I think January or something like that. And I was just not really into it initially because I just wanted to play like Marty McFly. And my teacher was taking me through all these beginner books with reading and scales and stuff like that, and I just wasn't having it.
Not interested.
Right, yeah. So I stuck with that for probably 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, and I was real with my parents. I said, I'm not really into this. I think I'm going to try something else. So I stopped playing guitar for 2 years after that. And I was watching TV and saw a video of Jimi Hendrix playing at the Monterey Festival.
Yeah.
And he was like burning the guitar, and I was like, oh man, that's even cooler than that scene in Back to the Future.
See, when you first said Back to the Future, I thought you were going to say the scene where Marty like plugs in the guitar for the first time and gets like blown across the room. But you went for the scene that makes much more sense, where he's actually playing guitar.
Right.
All right, so Marty McFly taking lessons, that's not doing it. A couple years go by, you see Hendrix, you pick it up again. Okay.
So I just, remembered that I had a guitar in my basement, went down and got it and tried to like make it sound like that, and it wasn't really happening. So I, just went on the internet, was learning a bunch of songs through Tab, lesson videos and that kind of thing. And then I finally got back into lessons after being able to teach myself a couple songs. And from there, I, got into Hendrix really deeply, Stevie Ray Vaughan, a lot of Texas blues style players. And then I started checking out jazz because I went to the summer program, and a teacher that I had was showing me people like Kenny Burrell, Grant Green, just kind of like bridging the gap between the blues players and more jazz.
Yeah, so all the old like Blue Note guitar guys.
Yeah, that's still just what resonates with me, for sure. But then after that, I went to Berkeley College of Music for my undergrad, studied jazz composition, and I graduated in 2016. Then I started my master's at a school in New Jersey called William Patterson University that I just finished last year in May.
Oh, well, congratulations! So you are officially done with school, or are you going for the full PhD now?
Done for now.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. I don't know if I have it in me right now to jump into more school, but maybe further down the line.
So what was the thought process going to Berkeley? Were you planning on making a career of like composition for film, or what was your thought process there?
So initially I entered Berkeley as a performance major. That was the first major that I declared. And I got to Berkeley like not really knowing how to read music very well, not really knowing theory or harmony very well, so I was just getting my butt kicked in all these classes.
Yeah, that first year is a killer for a lot of people.
Yeah. And after that, after some of those intro classes, I just figured, I might as well just jump head into like a composition major, because I felt like that would really get me started on a lot of that stuff and get it to feel natural, I guess. And at the time, I was just really into Duke Ellington, Wayne Shorter, just like the greatest jazz composers, and I wanted to learn how to write in that style,
Gotcha. So then you graduate Berkeley and you move on to the master's program. Now, what specifically were you honing in on in the master's course?
Definitely more performance oriented.
Okay.
And I picked that program in particular at William Patterson because they have kind of a reputation for being more straight ahead or more traditional in their scope, I guess. And that was just something that I felt I really needed to develop a little further. I felt like I was missing some of the fundamentals that I should have spent a little more time on.
I gotcha. So that was fairly recently, and then we hit 2020 and the world goes to hell. So did that sort of derail some of the plans that you maybe had coming out of school to start your own projects, or maybe bring us back to the beginning of the year, what you thought you were going to do and what you're up to now?
Yeah, well, after finishing school, I was just kind of jumping headfirst into the scene, like playing with as many people in the area as I could.
And this is in New York, right?
In New York and
Gotcha.
New Jersey.
Okay, gotcha.
And, a lot of things were coming through. I was lucky enough to be one of the finalists for the Herbie Hancock guitar competition in 2019.
Very cool.
And that was just something that was like, in the back of my head for, I don't even know how many years, honestly. So that really, helped me a lot and gave me an idea of like what direction I wanted to move in forward with my music. And then the beginning of the year, I was playing some more high profile gigs in New York, and felt like I was kind of moving in the right direction. And then, like you said, COVID hit, and I had plans to like record.
Oh, everybody had plans.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, everybody had plans, Cecil.
Yeah. But honestly, I've just been kind of cherishing the free time, to be honest with you, and like, practicing a lot, writing a lot,
Yeah.
Working on a lot of things that I've been meaning to work on for quite a few years now.
So you said you were working on a potential album with a trio. Is that something that's still kind of on the horizon that you can do even during these times, or is that unfortunately going to have to get pushed off for now?
Well, I was planning it for like March, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the tunes set and everything, had the players set and everything, and then it just got postponed. But in the time since then, the only person that's still living in that area is the organist in the group.
Yeah.
The drummer moved back where he's from in Ohio, and I actually moved down to Mississippi a couple weeks ago because I just had some family that moved down here. Wanted to come help them get settled, and hopefully just kind of use this as like a oasis until the live music scene goes back to normal.
So the plan is definitely to head back to New York if things level
Right
out
now.
and get back to normal.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. If you don't mind my asking, you said you were in Mississippi right now. Did you guys get hit by the storms that have been down in the Gulf? Are you okay?
We were pretty fortunate to not get hit too hard.
Okay, good.
A couple of weeks ago, we lost power for like a day and a half, maybe, but nothing major.
Okay. So if all does kind of level out again, the plan is head back to New York, maybe regroup with the band, do that project. Now, had you planned on going into a studio to record that, or was that something that you guys were going to do on your own in like a project studio or something?
I planned on going into a studio.
Okay. So let's take it back because honestly, I mean, the future is uncertain right now, so it's hard to speculate about that. But I would love to delve into your style, particularly because when we first got in touch with you to do this Elixir Strings project, I had only kind of come across you on Instagram and, seeing a minute or two clips here and there, I was like, this is amazing, so it was a no-brainer for us to reach out. But for those maybe who haven't heard you, I could describe your style, but maybe I wouldn't be doing it justice. If you could maybe give us a sense of what your personal style is like playing and what you put into your playing, I think that would give our listeners a really great insight into maybe your creative process and how you approach the guitar as a musician and a writer.
Sure. So I tend to lean towards the jazz side of things, I suppose. I just have like a tremendous appreciation for the lineage of jazz, the origins of jazz and blues, and even up to hip hop, rock, that kind of thing. The projects that I sent you for the demo videos in particular is actually a project that I was working on with a friend of mine from Berkeley since like 2012 or something like that. And the project is called Alpha Zordon, and it's more of our attempt at like kind of bridging the gap between like more jazz styles and kind of neo soul, hip hop, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you can really hear the eclectic nature of your influences, because when we get sent a lot of jazz music, it's a lot of times, and I don't mean this in a bad way, it's a lot of times very standard, right? So you listen to it and it's something that maybe you can say in the back of your mind, like, I've heard this before, and the playing might be very technically competent and good, but there's nothing new or exciting about it. But what you're doing, and what I hope people can hear in the stuff that we've posted and the things that you've posted separately, is really that fusion of different styles that make it more exciting, maybe more contemporary, something that maybe people who aren't super into jazz could get into because it's got those different elements to it, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, I think that a lot of what that is just like trying to use that influence with more, like you said, contemporary influences. Like, Jay Dilla has kind of taken the neo soul and hip hop world by storm with his production techniques and that kind of thing. Jazz musicians in the 60s and 50s didn't have a Jay Dilla,
Right.
So their music was definitely closer to what was happening at that time, and I think that that's something that musicians just have to keep in mind is, things have happened in the last 50 years, and that should also come out in music as well.
Yeah, I wish the guitar community were maybe a little less conservative than they tend to be, sticking to shapes that, were invented 70 years ago almost at this point. But that's neither here nor there. I'd love to get into your actual guitar setup. Is the Telly that you were playing in the videos for us your main guitar, or is that one of your backups? Or tell us what your setup looks like.
So the Telly that I play in most of my videos is actually the only electric I own right now.
Okay, cool.
So it's a parts caster. The body is from a company called MJT.
Okay.
They do like kind of relic Fender style.
Yeah, I've seen their finished work before.
Yeah, they make really good just nitrocellulose 50s and 60s style finishes and stuff.
Is your Telly relic, or is it fairly newish looking?
It's slightly relic.
Okay, so you have like the light relic.
Like light wear over the body and checking and stuff like that.
Now, did you custom order that, or is that something that you just kind of found and were like, oh, I need to have that?
Yeah, I custom ordered the body.
Cool.
Because I knew I wanted this specific sunburst that I had seen on some like higher end Fender models, and I knew I wanted like the like a specific checking on the back. And there's like a pinup sticker that no one's seen on the back of the guitar. And the neck is from a company in Jersey called Music Craft, and they just make like custom style necks. And It's got a kind of like a Les Paul, like a 50s Les Paul profile.
So is it a little fatter than?
Yeah, it's a little over 1 inch thick all the way down the neck.
Okay.
And that was just because I had like issues with tendonitis in the past, and I just feel like the fuller profile kind of makes your hand relax a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the cool thing about putting parts casters together. I've done one actually for the magazine, and it's like you can pick out anything under the sun that meets your specs that no one's ever going to build for you. Fender's never probably going to build that Telecaster for you. And if they do, it's probably going to be a custom shop, $4,000 guitar, right? So that's really awesome that you decided, the hell with it, I'm going to put together, something that meets my specs. Now, what have you got in there for pickups right now?
Right now, I've got a DiMarzio PAF Master in the neck, and that's just like a PAF style pickup, and then a DiMarzio Area T Hot in the bridge.
Okay, so you're running a little hot in the bridge.
Yeah, I think it's like 8K or something like that.
So pretty hot output.
Yeah.
And the neck was more of like a 59 PAF, you said?
Yeah, like vintage output.
Gotcha. So that's a little mellower then.
Yeah, definitely. I knew I wanted to mostly use the neck for more jazz stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Are you doing
at the bridge for distorted stuff?
Are you doing anything funky in the wiring, or is that pretty standard?
Honestly, there's something really funky going on in the wiring.
On purpose or no?
Kind of on purpose. I knew I wanted like a 5-wave switch, but I don't really know enough about the specifics of that stuff to know what it would give me. And I just took it to like a luthier in Boston when I was at Berkeley and asked him to put it together. And he was even kind of like, there's some weird stuff going on in here. I think like the neck is just as is, and then the second position is like the neck out of phase and the bridge or something like that.
Okay.
I barely use any position from like 2 to 4 just because it's like weird, wacky, kind of like almost a Strat kind of sound.
Yeah, so it's like positions like 2 and 4 on a Strat or something like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the body's custom, the pickups are the DiMarzios, the neck is Music Craft. Is there anything else that we're missing? Pretty standard bridge and all that stuff.
Yeah, the bridge is from Glendale, I believe, and they make like vintage style telly bridges with not stainless steel. I'm trying to think of the material, but it's supposed to like aid the tone and like make it thicker and give you more sustain.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else that would be kind of out of the ordinary. Tuning heads are probably pretty standard.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what those are exactly. There is a binding on the top, like a cream binding, because I wanted kind of like a Les Paul kind of vibe almost.
Now, what do you prefer for fret sizes? Do you like those like tall, skinny, old vintage style frets, or do you like the big fat like jumbos?
On this guitar, I have kind of vintage style frets, but I definitely prefer the jumbos. I thought about either like swapping the neck out on this or getting a refret done, because I prefer like the 6100 or 6000 style frets. I just feel like it makes you a little like lighter on your left hand.
Well, listen, you're on lockdown. You've got nothing but time. You can build another one.
Exactly.
Come on. What's the holdup?
We'll see about that.
One guitar? What kind of guitar player is that?
Yeah, no. I have one acoustic, but the electric game is definitely lacking.
No, I mean, this is probably a silly question, but would you be interested in any of like the kind of big box hollow bodies for the jazz stuff, or are you sticking with the telly style?
I definitely would be interested in a big box like an L5 or Super 400, and that's just like my dream totally. But the telly, the reason I put it together was because I wanted something versatile and just like to my specifications, and I wanted it to be cheap. So this telly altogether probably ran me like $1,700, I think.
Yeah, you're not going to find like a Super 400 for that.
Right, yeah.
Or like a Gibson 175 or something.
Yeah, I've done some browsing. And
yeah, it's not going to happen.
Think about how much a Super 400.
Nope. Not happening.
Anytime soon.
But hey, you'll definitely get there, and you'll have to send us pics when you do, so we can put them up on our Instagram. Cool. Well, Cecil, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. I hope our listeners got a better sense of who you are and what you're about. And like I mentioned at the top of the interview, definitely head to our YouTube channel. You can check out some really cool clips of him playing the Elixir Strings that we sent him. There's 2 videos up there and many more on his Instagram page and his YouTube. So if you want to plug those now, would be the time to do that.
Yeah, my Instagram handle is just Cecil Alexander Music, and my YouTube is going to be the same thing. But I mostly put new material on my Instagram.
I think that's what most people are doing now. I mean, this is probably a silly question. Do you even have a Facebook page for your music?
I do, but that gets updated even less frequently.
I think that's the downward trend now. Is everybody's just putting everything up on Instagram. People like photos and videos, and that's where they go, especially if they want to not have a bunch of politics in their feed. Although, we won't go down that route. All right, cool. So, Cecil, thank you so much again. We're wishing you all the best down in Mississippi with your family. Hopefully things get back to normal and you can head up back east. But until then, stay safe, and we'll talk to you again soon.
You too, Ben.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
All right, so that was Cecil Alexander. See, the quality wasn't that bad. You made it through. You got it to this point. And speaking of quality, we are using another mic on this episode. We're testing out a couple different mics just to see which one works best for voiceover. We've tried a few USB mics so far on the first 3 episodes, 1 condenser mic. I think this one is actually sounding particularly good. No popping plosives or harsh S's that we got to kind of DS and get rid of sibilants on. So this might be the winner. And if it's the winner, we'll tell you what it is next time. But until then, enjoy, stay safe, wash your hands, be kind to each other, and we will see you soon. Bye.